All great movements start with a righteous cause. Then over time, they start getting tainted, jaded. They lose their way. Take the civil rights movement, for instance. It was born out of raw injustice. People were being treated like second class citizens because of the color of their skin. The response? Marches, sit ins, and relentless demand for equality. The mission was clear: justice, fairness, and the end of discrimination. As time passed, some folks started stretching the movement out like a old pair of underwear, slapping its name on any new grievance just to stay relevant. Then we had Me Too. At first, it was about exposing powerful creeps who was abusing their status to dodge accountability. Sounds good, right? Nobody outside of the actual creeps was against holding abusers accountable. But somewhere in between Weinstein and canceling dudes over awkward flirting, the whole due process thing got thrown out. Suddenly, allegations became gospel. Careers got nuked over text messages. Men started treating the workplace interaction like they were defusing a bomb. And now, well, the red pill, what started off as a wake up call for men, turned into a full blown doomsday cult. At first, it made sense. You know, Men were getting screwed in divorce court, lied to about what women actually want, and force fed this blue haired feminist propaganda. So they fought back with facts, stats, and evolutionary psychology. They challenged the old school relationship myths and helped men reclaim their masculinity. But like any movement that tastes a little too much power, it went from let's fix this to fuck it, let it all burn. Instead of helping men build strong relationships, it became an us versus them war. The advice shifted from being strong, desirable men to never trust a woman and never commit, never let your guard down. The system is rigged, so opt out. Cool. And then what? Live your whole life running from commitment like a dude avoiding child support? Never trust anyone? Jack off into the abyss while ranting about female nature? What's the end game here? Even the so called father of the red pill admits he's not here to give advice. But let's be real. We both know that motherfucker gives advice. I mean, the 99 rules are literally advice, solutions, and best practices. For example, I'm rule number 7. It's always time and effort better spent developing new, fresh, prospective women than it will ever be in attempting to reconstruct a failed relationship. Sounds like fucking advice to me, dumbass. So what now? Has the red pill hit its expiration date? Does it need to evolve? Or better question, why the hell do we keep on elevating guys that diagnose problems that don't fix them? Pointing out the issues are easy. Offering real solutions, now that's where the work begins. So the next evolution, in my opinion, should be solutions over criticism, strengths over bitterness, and maybe, just maybe, a movement that actually brings men and women together instead of just fueling this gender war. What should it be? What should it evolve to? Well, let me tell you. This obsession over the red pill praxeology, this constant classification of men either alpha or beta, or this fixation on a woman's hypergamous nature, does not do any good. It harms more people. It traps men in this rigid and externalized way of thinking where their worth is dictated by how women respond to them rather than how their strength of their own presence is. Instead of wasting energy on labels and theories about female nature, men should focus on cultivating a dominant masculine presence. A presence that commands respects, projects an unwavering confidence, influences the world around them. Here's the problem with the red pill. It turns men into reactionaries. If you're constantly analyzing whether a woman's being hypergamous, you're giving her too much power over your mental state. If you're fixated on whether you're not your alpha or beta, you're allowing external narratives to define you instead of you forging your own identity. That's weakness in disguise of insight. A man who's truly dominant doesn't concern himself with what category he fits in. He just is. Having a dominant masculine presence isn't chasing validation or reacting to a woman's nature. It's about becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts respect and admiration. A man with presence doesn't need to prove he's an alpha. His energy, his body language, his control over himself and his environment speaks louder than any internet theory ever could. He doesn't need to complain about hypergamy because it's irrelevant to him. He leads, he builds, he dominates his space. And because of that, women just naturally gravitate towards him. Another issue with the red pill is that it creates this victim mentality. Yes, hypergamy is a thing and it's real. So what? A strong man doesn't need to whine about it. He moves in a way that makes him the most valuable option for any woman who enters his world. And if she isn't aligning with his vision, he doesn't cry about it. He just moves on, walks away without hesitation. Look, the key difference between the red pill and having a dominant masculine presence is that one is reactive while the other one is proactive. The red pill tells you to adapt to a woman's tendencies and strategize around their nature. A man with presence creates his own reality and forces everything around him to adjust to it accordingly. In the end, men who waste time obsessing over alpha versus beta debates and hypergamy are missing the bigger picture here. You don't win by memorizing theories about female nature. You win by becoming undeniable. The kind of man whose presence alone commands attention and respect. Now, that's the real power move.